as our Jaatre guest. And so I met him during one of my short treks at Krishnagiri near Hosur, or near Bangalore, in fact. So I was interacting. We were there at the top of the hill, and we were interacting about the trekking and all those. And so I met him during one of. And I was just impressed by the fact that he has traveled all along Western Ghats, and that too alone. So, and he talked about alpinism and a lot more, which was exciting. So I'll just let Ashish start with his intro now. Let's all hear from him.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashish. Starting this, I would like to welcome you all into this space, and thank you so much for joining in. So I was very fascinated by the idea of talking about mountaineering, and I haven't done this before, talking to anyone about anything, honestly. But when this opportunity came that I need to tell my own experience about mountaineering or my own perception about mountaineering, I was actually very excited about the fact. Mountaineering, I feel, is a very abstract idea, is a very abstract term, and what it means is very subjective, or is very interpretative for people who are thinking about it, or who are receiving it on their own end. So I feel I have transcribed to this idea that mountaineering is something that a person feels has a very different perception depending on the person himself. So my perception about mountaineering basically is I feel it brings in a lifestyle change. You realize that it questions your core values of the way you live, of the way you practice things, of the way you believe in things. So at times it teaches you discipline. At times it teaches you planning. At times it teaches you execution. It also teaches you how to be resilient. It also teaches you how to be adaptable to situations. It also teaches you how do one believe in himself. And at times it also makes you question I don't know whether strength is the only thing that works out for everyone. At times it also asks you to be weak. So you have to realize your own self. Mountaineering has to do a lot about you understanding your body, you understanding who you are physically, you understanding where you stand mentally. A lot of it aligns with the term mountaineering itself. So what I feel is mountaineering is something that basically it's a sport. Basically it's a practice. It's a habit that people follow, people pursue. And in different forms. It could either be hiking, it could either be trekking, and it could either be climbing, it could either be core mountaineering, snow climbing. So there are different aspects to mountaineering, but in general, the core idea of mountaineering is just for one person to understand his own body. This is my interpretation of mountaineering, I feel. So also, I'd like to touch upon things that mountaineering teaches, and the idea of wherever I'm talking, the platform where I'm talking to you guys. You guys are from Arohi, and I've been to alternative learning spaces, and I've understood how all of these things work. And I like the core concept of it. Like, it teaches one to be minimalistic. It teaches one to only transcribe to their idea of understanding. And I like this idea where people find their own space, where people find their own passion about things, and then they try to weave their life around it. That I feel is very beautiful about alternative learning spaces. So I was myself at a point working with Sevagram. So they had this Nai Talim thing that was going on. Also, it is a curriculum that Nai Talim kind of endorses, but at the same time, it was very beautiful, like witnessing students learning through farming, students learning through cycling. So when I saw ki weaving is in itself could teach maths to children, it was very beautiful. So yeah, all of these things, and for the same element, I feel mountaineering also comes in. Okay, mountaineering teaches you way too much about life, basically. So with every experience of your climb, with every experience of your treks, you could easily map out your own growth trajectory. you could see ki how things change. You could see how nature kind of uh, I don't know, elevates. If you gain height, you can spot different kinds of vegetation coming in. You can spot different kinds of birds coming in and going out. And you can almost, if it also teaches you to observant. So you'll easily work upon your observation skills. And this is not something that one need to practice. I feel it is not something that you have to be open about. You have to be aware about. It is so easy. Even if you're there just for fun, you'll realize ki these are all these instances that you keep on noticing. And mountaineering, obviously, when I say it's a lifestyle, so some of the things comes like by the own idea of it, but at the same time, you also need to be mindful about other stuff. So ठीक है, I'll just guide you through everything. This is just the introduction of what I feel is mountaineering. And so yeah, I'll just start with introducing myself. So I am Ashish, as I told you guys. So I'm from Nagpur. I'm from Maharashtra, and in Maharashtra we have many mountains, but in Nagpur we don't have any mountains as such. It's a dry area. It's basically a dry area. I'm from the Vidarbha region, and it is famous for its droughts and farmers. So so basically, mountaineering. I'll just start with my life trajectory. So I was a obese child like throughout my life. Like I at a point I realized that I was weighing almost about 120 kgs something, and after that I stopped weighing myself. I was like, okay, like that's it. I don't want to know more about it. And then I continued. And what happened is ki, it just went on, and like I was so heavy, it was very fatiguing for me just to stand up or go somewhere or to live life in normal in general. And yeah, that was where like it is not much before it was only 5 6 years before I feel. So so that is where I found myself. And during that period, a friend of mine suggested or introduced me to trekking. So he took me to a very small hill, and I was there. I I thought कि ठीक है, it is a small hill, I can do this. It wasn't like more than a 2 hour trek, I feel. So I thought कि ठीक, this is doable. But like at the midst of it, I realized कि it is getting very hard, and I realized कि I'm not enjoying this basically. Like being in that moment, being in that space, I was starting to question everything. What is the reason one does this? What is the like? Is the view actually that important that one go like one has to go through these hardships and stuff? So so that was the first instance of me being introduced to trekking, and I questioned the whole idea of it. I questioned the whole attribute of it. I thought I felt it is senseless, and it doesn't matter, or it won't add anything to anyone's perception of mountaineering. But when I returned back, not completing the summit, not completing the mountain, when I gave up, when I came back, and over the time when I introspected, I got to like I reflected on it a lot. I reflected on the points of what went internally within me, of what I was feeling throughout the trek, whether I was feeling confident at a point or whether I was feeling weak at a point, or what was happening within me. Like because trekking basically is a sport that only asks you to focus on your next step and nothing else. So I feel trekking is a form of a meditation. Like in meditation, you only have to focus on one element, be it the rudraksh in your hand, or be it the chants that you say, the om that you say. So what I feel is trekking similarly is a very same attribute where you only have to focus on one element. That is your next step, where you put your next foot on. And if you do mistake on that step, then either your legs or your ankle gets twisted, or some or the other thing happens. So so you get a lot of time to think about things. So you constantly you think, you feel, you actually start to sense what is happening with you, and what is like what are elements are leading you to what emotions. You get to reflect more. You get to come up with thoughts that have been inside you, and you never worked upon. And like during treks, you get very random thoughts. You get very off thoughts that once you must have thought about, but then you just left it there. So you start to remember everything. You start to think about things. And when I was back, I actually realized that this is something. It was not only just the physical attribute, also the mental attribute, that living this life of being a 120 kg person, I realized that I need to do something about it, and I started working upon myself after that. And the core principle is I just started walking. I just started hiking. That was my thing, and I didn't work on my diet. Obviously, one has to, but I didn't do much. I just started walking, because walking and trekking and mountaineering is something, at least like mobilizing oneself from one place to another, is something I feel it is very productive in both mental and physical terms. If you exit a space, if you travel from one place to another, I feel you witness that shift. You witness that shift, that theek hai, something is happening. If you just work on yourself mentally, that is also there. But at the same time, when physical attributes come in, you easily get to see the results. You easily get to at least tell yourself or reinstate this feeling that okay, something is happening within you, something is happening with you. So I started working upon myself, and over the time, I guess in 2 or 3 years, I literally started traveling India. I started going to places. I started doing all kinds of trek in all altitudes, in all elevations, in all landscapes. Almost every possible thing I feel I've witnessed within the past 3 4 years. And I've been to Nepal. I've been to countries. I've been to different trekking experiences. I've been to very great heights, and I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost almost 40 50 kgs of weight, and at the same time, I've learned a lot. I've learned so much from trekking. Trekking, I feel, is such a nice way of education. It's such a nice way of reinforcing education, and and the core idea of it is so beautiful. Like, at times, it isn't only about you or what you feel. Like, I'm presenting it in a way where I'm talking about what one feels within. But at the same time, also need to state this. It is also a lot about what a person or a fellow trekker with you feels. Their emotions coming in, their smiles coming in, them struggling with the trek, or at times them being so confident with the trek. All of these emotions, like watching people smile or watching people struggling a lot, or just like sweating a lot, all of these things adds on to the whole experience of your trek. You realizing where you are, you realizing where people are, you realizing how you act when people need help, you realizing whether you're able to ask for help if you need it. So all of these elements, like, you are exposed to, and it teaches you a lot, I feel. So yeah, so this is what I feel about trekking, and yeah, so ठीक है. I'll also want to talk about my experiences on different treks. So there was this one. So I actually wanted to work a lot on this presentation, but I was traveling to Goa recently, so I just came back yesterday night and I had a very less frame of time. But ठीक है, I'll share. So what I planned on is try to talk through pictures basically. So so this is my Instagram account, and I call it my photo journal. So are you guys able to see the screen that I've shared? Okay, fine.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah. So wait a second, I'll just show you some pictures. So yeah. So I feel I've documented almost every possible trick that I've done on my Instagram. There are some secluded experiences also where taking photographs wasn't allowed or videography wasn't allowed. So I've like restricted them. I didn't go beyond the rules of things. So this is the first Western Ghats trek that I've done. And it was a very good experience. So this is Kumara Parvata, and this is a Western Ghats trek. It starts in very nearby to Mangalore. It starts in the Pushpagiri ranges, and there's this Subramanya temple. So that acts as a base of this temple. So, so this was my first time witnessing. So this is the Subramanya temple, and the best thing about introducing you to the Kumar Parvata trek. So the Kumar Parvata trek is a 2 or 3 day trek basically. It depends on you howsoever you want to push it, or if you even want, you can extend it to 3 4 or 5 days. It's all on you. But so yeah, so this trek starts at the Subramanya temple, and it is very famous for being the hardest trek or the hardest climb in the whole of Western Ghats, because it is a very wide trek, and the very very toughest part about this trek is that there are very less water sources, and the water sources varies from season to season. So when I went there, it was like extreme summers, and one never goes there in summers. You'll find it as an off season, and because I love traveling alone or with very specific set of people, So yeah, we went there in summers so that we avoid a lot of rush and we have our own set of experiences. So this trek starts in Subramanya, and so yeah, so this is the landscape of the whole trek. This is the mountain that you're supposed to climb. It looks very small. Every mountain looks very small when you actually. It depends. It depends. When you start climbing it, it looks very small. But over the time, you realize there are so many ridges, there are so many passes that you have to go through. Like just climbing this one mountain, you have to climb almost 5 to 6 mountains, get till the hill, get down, then get like up again, get to towards the hill. So yeah, this is something. And so yeah, these were my friends that joined me on the trek, and a lot of them were doing their trek for the first time, and I was just navigating them through. So I would like to also talk about elements of like when I say ki trekking is something that teaches one person a lot, and it teaches you about execution, it teaches you about planning. So so when I say planning, when you travel solo, when you trek alone, I'll show you more pictures. I'll show you more of the experiences where I have trekked alone and what all comes and what all things you need to make sure of before traveling alone. So basically, you need to first assess the situation, ki where you are going. You just need to study the landscape. You just need to study almost every element of that space, every weather condition of that space. When I talk about weather condition, it needs to be an yearly average. You need to study the past years, ki what all was happening through the time in summers or in different season when you're planning to go there. And additionally, you also need to think about what all variations, because climate change is happening, because things are changing very drastically, and you could not establish that average. Ki if this was happening for the past year, it will also happen again this year. So you also need to think about things, ki what all shifts are happening. You also need to study the most recent weather pattern of that region. Because when you go into the mountains, everything changes very drastically. And things aren't that comfortable in the mountains. That is also there. So you also need to think about stuff that you need to work upon, stuff that you need to carry. So when you have studied the mountain, when you have studied the weather patterns of that mountain, when you have studied what all situations are possible if you be there and if everything works out for you. So you need to first make a list of things that you need to carry. And mentioning the things of list, a lot of the things, almost I guess 40 to 50% of the stuff that you plan you'll carry would be about, will work on your safety elements and will work on your safety aspects, because at times in mountain, if you're traveling solo, if you're traveling alone, there are many risks that come along. So the risk, basically the major risks are animals, and you need to make sure, because when there are groups, animals kind of try to stay away from like when they hear a lot of noises, when they hear a lot of humans at one place, they try to stay away from that region. But when you're traveling alone, when you're traveling solo, you're obviously breaching their space, you're obviously breaching their ecosystem going there. And if one says, or if one asks, why is this happening, or why are animals here, or it should be an enclosed space, it should be an enclosed region. So what I feel is the basic answer to this is it is not them breaching our space, it is us being into their space. So at the same time, we need to address that. We need to be very, very mindful about. We can basically just try to do very, very minimal stuff that works for our safety also, and additionally that doesn't hamper their ecosystem. So we need to carry a lot of stuff that are very basic, and it doesn't do any of wrong sorts to their ecosystem. When I talk about ecosystem, it has to do with sound or the noises that you make. It has to do with the smells that you leave. It also has to do with the food that you carry. You cannot carry anything alien. You cannot carry anything that is not subjective or like alimentative to their own ecosystem. You just need to make sure what food are you carrying. If you carry a very separate set of food from, let's say, just for an example, in this trek. So the best thing about this trek is food. Okay. So when you do this trek, Kumara Parvata, so there is this one stop that comes in between, and it is known as Badru Mane. So I'm very bad at Kannada, but what I understood out of Badru Mane is it means Bhat Ji ka Ghar. So house of Bhat. Okay. So this person has been living there. He has his own house there, and he is very famous for serving food to people, for serving food to trekkers. And the food that he makes, like the pure Kannada food. And I love this thing about Karnataka, and I seriously love this thing about Karnataka. I have been to multiple places throughout India, outside India, but the convenience that Karnataka comes with in terms of food, in terms of very healthy food and very filling food. It is so, and wherever you go, almost at every space that I've been to, very secluded villages, like almost every place, I could easily find a very healthy set of meal for myself. And this is my way of eating in the mountains. I try to be dependent on the sole local food. I try to carry it. I try to carry their local ration. I try to cook that ration with my like with my own set of understanding. But I never try to carry anything alien. So basically what is happening recently is there are these set of MREs. The full form of it is meals ready to eat. So what people do is they carry these packages in the mountains. It is a plastic and a aluminium blend of packaging. They carry these in the mountains. They boil it, they eat it, and then they throw it there. And right now, a major concern is that all of these MRE packets and the Maggie packets also, like all of these things that doesn't belong into the mountain are coming into these places, cold drink bottles, chips packets, all of these snacks and stuff. And because these places aren't meant for having their own set of waste management systems or processing units, like a lot of it is straightly going to landfill, or you'll find separate spots or hills or vents into the mountain where they are constantly dumping it. And it right now, earlier it wasn't being addressed because it was happening in a very smaller scale, and it wasn't being that big of a problem. It wasn't addressing itself as a big problem. But right now, like because a lot of people are like trekking recently has evolved. Trekking recently has been very major in terms of people planning their vacation, in terms of people, uh, I don't know, having an experience. Like this is something that has become very convenient for everyone. So, so because people or humans are coming and intervening into the ecosystem, a lot of these things have come up. And right now, people rather than thinking about minimizing on waste, people right now are working on establishing waste management system in the mountains. And I don't know how that would go, but okay. So yeah, so like depending on local food, I feel is a very nice choice that you could make. If a person wants to carry snacks, I feel you can carry snacks that basically are local snacks. Or if even you feel you also need to be in comfort zone when you are entering in a mountain space. Obviously, you have to face a lot of challenges. And if food is something that feels comforting to you, I understand this. So you can maybe carry some chickis, you can maybe carry some laddus, you can maybe carry some basic snack bars that you can make at your home itself, rather than carrying all these pre-packaged foods or processed foods or energy bars in say. So so yeah, so this person, Bhatru Mane Bhatji, he serves very delicious. So basically, I have been to this trek, I guess more than 6 7 times now, because it is very convenient and like if you just need to carry a late night train to Subramanya, and early in the morning at 4 you reach there. And then you start your trek like very early in the morning at 5 6, having your breakfast at in just like right ahead of the Mandir, Subramanya temple. And yeah, and when you reach there by the breakfast time, he serves you very hot food, very delicious food, very tasty food. Yeah, after that, it's up to you. So for us, what we did is what people usually do is they just do the 50% of the trek, or like 40 50% of the trek on day one. They stay there, they just camp there, just enjoy their space. So if I talk about camping, like I told you, like recently that I told you guys, ki I have been soloing throughout India, and soloing comes with a core quality of being able to carry one's weight. Okay, so if you think you are planning your trek somewhere, obviously have to carry food for yourself. You obviously have to carry clothing for yourself. You'll need to carry a lot of water if that trek doesn't have water sources. Like Kumar Parvata in summers never has any water sources. You cannot depend. You only need to carry 2 or 3 sets of bottle, and you have to make sure that you don't go beyond that, because this was my first time that I was doing Kumar Parvata, and I finished almost 60% of the trek. I was at the summit, but my water got done. I had not even a single drop of water, and we were descending in very extreme heat basically. And our plan was to, as soon as descend and reach to Bhatt's place and maybe have water. But it was a 5 to 6 hour descent. So we didn't have water. So for the first 1 or 2 hour, we established on this method where we thought ki we'll just descend slowly. So in that ways, our body won't get fatigued. We will have enough energy. We won't feel thirsty. That was the plan. So we started doing that for the first 2 hours. But then after a point, what happens is you realize ki nahi, this won't work. And you just have to be adaptable to that situation. You just need to practice resilience at that point. And you also need to assess costs ki what are the risks that you are taking if you go to an alternate solution. Or you always need to have a plan B in the mountains. That's what I'm stating. So our plan B was to just start running, to just start speed hiking towards Butts place and just find like, the first source of water that we could stumble upon. So we literally started running. We started running, and I guess for 3 hours of trekking, we finished our running or trail hiking in, I guess, 30 to 40 minutes. And the first thing that we did is we didn't drink even a single drop of water. We just turned on the tap. We just sat below it because it was so sunny, and we literally were heat stroke basically. So we didn't have water. Our mouths were very dry, and we were obviously struggling with breathe because we started running. And so yeah, these are all the mistakes that you make if you travel solo. If you feel ki so basically right now trekking has to do two sets of options, whether you go with a company who will take care of every element of your trek, every experience of your trek. They'll make sure that you have very good food, and when I say very good food, they'll make sure that at an altitude of 10,000 plus feet, they'll serve you pasta, they'll serve you sweets, they'll serve you desserts, they'll serve you sandwich, they'll do everything for you. So that is there if you go with a company. But if you travel solo, then you have to make sure that you are the only sole person who'll think about everything. And when this comes in now, when this comes in and you have to carry all of that pasta, you have to carry all of that sandwich in your backpack. You obviously start to think, ki, nahi, yaar, this is not the only thing that I'll need in the mountain. I can maybe compromise on it. I can maybe carry something kyunki when in the end you have to carry every gram of the weight that you feel is your need. Like if you go through a company and they serve you right on the plate, whatever you ask for. Like right now, there are these experiential companies also. I'm not against them. They are very beautiful companies. They work very beautifully. But at the same time, I don't myself aligned with their idea of thought or with their perception of mountaineering. I feel they are also okay. I feel I'm also okay. But when you ask about us, like if you ask it, okay, I want this pesto pasta in the mountains, and if they serve you that, and you have that, and when you're having that, you'll feel that okay, this is what I was needing. This is what I needed. But when you're traveling alone in the mountains, and when you have to carry every grain of that particular thing, or every gram of that dish, basically, you start to think, "Nahi, this is not what I need." You start to question about your own on your own beliefs, on your own need system, on your own values. So trekking also teaches you to be minimalistic, is what I found. Earlier, I used to have a very big closet of clothes. I used to have a lot of shoes. I used to have, I don't know, thousands. Just a second. Yeah, I used to have thousands of elements. I used to have so many things that I feel are very important for my sustenance. And when I started being in the mountains, when I started exploring stuff, and when I started exploring things, I question on the very basic necessities that I have, and I started on minimizing things. I started on eliminating things, and over the time I realized that there are only 15 or 16 things in my life that needs to be permanent. Otherwise, everything is just coming in and going out. That is there. So yeah, trekking as a sport teaches you to be minimalistic. It teaches you to quantify on your own needs. You start to question almost everything that your life is based upon. Uh, and then when I'm suggesting you ki food as a choice, or clothing as a choice, or practicing habits as a choice, when you start to question the structure of everything that your life is based upon, or the practices that you're doing, you start to be very wise about things that you're investing yourself into, or your energy into, or your time into, or your, I don't know, or your interests into. So so yeah, And yes, you get to witness, you get to experience your friendships with people. You get to, so whenever a group of people goes into a trek, usually they fight because all of them are struggling. But after the trek is done, and after you gather at the base, and after you celebrate your trek, you obviously, whenever hard experiences or harsh experiences come in, I feel person bond really well. So trekking is also something that I feel couples should do, that I feel friends should do, that I feel ki is also a extended space where you could explore your relations with people. If at a point you feel that okay, this is something that is working out for you very well, really well, so you might want to do a trek with that person. Because being into that space, knowing each other, just understanding whether, like, how well do you sing, or what are, even if you don't sing, what are the elements that you differentiate upon, what are the thing that is not working out for you. I guess it teaches you a lot about relations. And yeah, in the end, just finishing the climb, finishing the summit, and being there, staying there, enjoying there, just witnessing the wind coming to your face, and yeah, just hearing out like how wind sounds, or how birds. Basically, at that height, what happens is there are these birds, it's like eagles and vultures and birds like that. They'll focus on you, and they'll uh, just a second. I just need to attend to something. Just a minute. Very sorry. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah, being at that height and being a prey for these birds. So eagles and vultures looking at you, as if you're their food, and you accepting that fact. Ki, theek hai, this is the situation that I am in, and I'm okay with that. It's okay. I'm just a food for someone, nothing else. So I don't know, like all of these core concepts coming in, and then I don't know, like whenever you're in the mountains, I feel you feel very small, and it teaches you again and again this thing, and it teaches you that obviously our life is based upon the fact, or the way that we are living, or we feel ki I don't know, like everybody has his own world, everybody has his own perception of what he likes or what he doesn't like, and I feel everything is revolved around that. But when you're in the mountains, you realize nothing is about you. Nothing, literally nothing is about you. Even a leaf wouldn't fall for you. Even you couldn't make any sorts of changes into the mountain or its setting. So you just need to adapt yourself to the situation. And when you start agreeing to this, when you start accepting this fact, okay, this is there, and and I don't know, I just need to accept this. So you just go beyond that thing, and you start to think about more things that goes beyond your own set of ideologies, or your own set of beliefs, basically. So you get accepting about everyone's thought, you get accepting about everyone's practices, everyone's belief, even if it is completely opposite to what you believe in. So earlier I used to be, I don't know, very particular about my ways, very particular about my methods. Okay, this is what I do and this is what I'll do. But right now, when I'm practicing my way of trekking, my way of sustainability, my way of life, or my way of mountaineering and climbing, what I realized is ki, I'm like, over the time, with my experiences and with my treks, I have been acceptable of almost everything. And whatever I'm doing, or whatever I have been living for the past so many years, even if at a point I realize ki none of it means nothing and I have been doing all of it wrong, I guess I'm okay with that fact now. I won't say to myself ki I don't know, I've wasted a lot of years. I don't know. I would never question myself. I'll just be okay with everything that's happening. So yeah, trekking teaches you to be acceptable of stuff, of people, of thoughts. And what else? You get to climb, you get to camp at night. And camping is itself a very beautiful experience, and one should surely do that. Being into, so if you see, we just have one light, and that too we were only turning on for just 1 or 2 minutes, while we were just settling in, so that we make sure that there are no snakes inside the trek, because this trek, Kumara Parvata, is famous for snakes. So it basically has this mountain that is named on a snake. They called it, shit, I don't remember the name of that trek, the name of that mountain. It is, I guess, Kumara Parvata and Shesha Parvata. Okay. So that is Shesh Parvata, and it is a straight out rock surface uh, that projects itself as a Sheshanag from the Indian mythology. So Sheshanag is the mountain that I'm standing on. Is there a picture of it? I'll just check. Yeah, so this is the mountain. So this patch that you see. So this is basically the Shesh Parvata. And whole of the trek, it is very easy for one to spot snakes on this trek. And snakes, because in the night it is very cold and they search for warm places, they usually come underneath your tent. Because it gets warm and stuff. So you have to be very mindful about going near your tent also. If and there is this one ritual that I usually do to myself. Whenever I pitch a tent, I congratulate myself on having my own home for the coming 2-3 days on that space. I just say ki Ghar Mubarak, Ghar Mubarak. And we all friends to each other greet ki Ghar Mubarak. But then this home obviously comes at its own risks. Animals could attack you in the night, and snakes could come, and scorpions could come. Like it depends on the topology of the place. So you need to be mindful and careful when you camp in the mountains. And there are some methods or some tricks that one learns by trial and error, I feel. So mine are very traditional. Mine are very, I don't know, very new. Or so what I do is, so once
Ashish, thank God you're telling this now, and we didn't know about the snake thing when we were there. We would have freaked out.
Okay. So yeah, so basically, yeah, animals come in and you have to accept that. Okay, this is their space, and we just need to adjust ourselves, and we also at the same time needs to make sure we don't harm them in any way whatsoever. Ensuring our safety, we need to ensure our safety at a very minimal cost. That doesn't bother anyone. So so when I was in Uttarakhand, so I was doing a particular Brahmatal trek, and Brahmatal is famous for its wild bears. So I was camping there alone in the night, and a bear came basically. So it came and I could hear its voice and everything, and it was very late in the night. It was almost like 3 or 4 in the night, and I didn't understand what to do. I prepared for almost everything, but I didn't prepare for the situation. At 3 or 4 in the night, if this happens, and if I turn on my headgear, so obviously the bear would get attracted towards me and it will start attacking me. So I didn't know what to do at that exact moment, and I only trusted the situations and my own luck. And I just thought, "Theek hai, I'll just live this through. I'll just see what happens." I just braced myself within the tent, holding something so that I could run, at least just push the bear away, and I could just run if something happens at the worst. And this was my way of error. And then I need to improvise on that. And what I adapted to over the time is I started practicing. So what I learned when I researched about this, I learned that bears are attracted towards strong smells, or animals in general attracted towards strong smells. So that is why trekking comes with the practice of not using deodorants and stuff. What people do is when they go to the mountains, they feel if they'll sweat and it won't be sophisticated for them. So they basically carry deodorants and things so that it feels good for them, or they feel fresh. But when you carry all of these strong smells or these spirits into the mountains, animals in general or insects in general straight off come to you. They instantly come towards you. So this knowledge, this method I used in terms of camping. So what I adapted to is whenever I now it's a practice for me. Whenever I camp alone in the mountains, so I established my base. Okay, this is the place that is right for me to camp and to be safe throughout the night. So I just walk opposite towards that direction. So there is this trail, and if I plan to camp on the trail, so I'll go deeper into the mountains for 3 or 4 kilometers at least, and then I'll carry this perfume with me, and I'll spray a lot of perfume into that space. And also I'll walk opposite towards my camp from that space, and I'll spread more perfume, and then I'll come back and I'll make sure I have changed my clothes, because obviously I also have that fragrance within my clothes. So I'll change my new set of clothes, and then I'll sleep in. So 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 this works, and this works very well, because I have also checked, like I have also have a set of system of check on this. Next day in the morning, I know कि this particular space comes between two camps or different places. So next day people used to tell me कि they spotted a bear there or they spotted an animal there. So I realized that okay, this is working, and this is my own way of learning things, like making mistakes. But obviously, it comes at a cost. I couldn't always rely on learning through this mechanism of trial and error, because mountains, it doesn't give you second chances. I've realized if you just make one mistake. So if I talk about different experiences that I've had, so basically I've also been on very traditional methods of learning in mountaineering. So all of these are the experiences of treks that I've had. If you're able to see my screen, so this is the Kedar Kantha trek that we did. So yeah, over here I went with a group. I never go with a group, but this time, because a lot of friends were joining in, and it was the peak season, we had to go through a group there. And also at some places, it is very sad. As of now, I realize that earlier trekking used to be okay for every country, every person. Even if you are a solo traveler, they never used to question you about the permits and stuff. But recently, a lot of countries, because commercialism is a thing now, and they want to quantify or capitalize on every aspect of making money. So right now, these people, because they have their inhibits of boosting the local economy and stuff. So what they do is they are imposing a ban on solo trekking. They are stating that if you want to travel, you need to have a guide, you need to have a local porter over there, you need to at least have a proper permit that the forest authority provides. So recently, Nepal has introduced this law, I guess a week or a month back. So earlier, when I went to the Annapurna base camp, I did that solo. So there was no issues, and I, obviously solo traveling also adds a lot to your budget. Like you save so much money, you save so much money. So it is so easy for you. You just need to assess your traveling cost, and there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else. You just need to carry some food, and you just need to be able to carry or port your own weight, and that's it. And you'll be able to manage many of the treks. I've done so many treks in the Western Ghats for just $1,000, I feel, and 1,000 is also a lot. I was literally lavishly spending throughout that trek, and even then, it only costed me about $1,000. So yeah, that is the basic cost of a trek, I feel. And yeah, we were at this Kumara Parvata trek, and it was very cold. It went on till -10 in the night, and yeah, there are different people, different emotions, and yes,
This is some other tech, not Kumar.
yes.
Correct?
So I wanted to show you. Okay, so I wanted to, yeah. Yes, Preeti.
Sorry. Okay, carry on.
Okay, no, if you have anything to ask, please go ahead. Okay, fine. So so I wanted to talk to you about. So I didn't realize it's 45 minutes already. But yeah, so yeah, I'll just show you some of the ranges. So these are the Annapurna ranges. So basically, this is the MBC mountain. So they call it Machapuchare base camp, and Machapuchare means fish tail. So if you see, it is in the shape of a fish tail, and it is located in the Pokhara ranges of Nepal, and it basically is a part of Himalayan ranges, and it comes under Pokhara district. So it is a very beautiful trail. It is just beyond everything. What all sights and things that you get to witness. People playing flute over there, and very beautiful things. So yeah, trekking in Nepal in general has become very commercialized. They have like they have maintained infrastructure for almost everything that a person could need on a trek. You'll find Wi-Fi at 18 at the base camp of this mountain. Uh, I don't know what to feel about this, but yeah, but yeah. So my way of traveling, or my way of trekking, my way of traveling basically is only about trekking. If a person calls me a traveler, I always question about it, whether I'm a traveler or not. But I would love to call myself a trekker, because I only go to places that have mountains. And I like that is my thing. I've realized now. I feel with every penny I save, I could do more treks, I could grow more, I could have more experiences about places and stuff. And so these traditional things. So there are many courses in India. If you want to pursue mountaineering, or if you feel you are very good at trekking and you want to explore more about yourself or more about this particular field and the sector, there are many opportunities in India. And the foremost is basic mountaineering course, they call it. So I'll show you some pictures from my basic mountaineering course. Okay. So there are almost 4 to 5 institutes in India. So basically, how I stumbled upon it, I'll just start there. So I was trekking for a very long time. I was trekking on a constant basis. With every trek that I ended, I instantly started to plan on my next trek or my next project. And that ways, I just went ahead with trekking. And I was doing this for the past 2 years, easily. Past 2 or 3 years, I did nothing, just trekking. And I only used to stay at my home for 2 or 3 days and then used to leave for a different set of trek places. And yeah, it turned out very beautiful for me. And over the time, I realized ki I have learned a lot. And over the time, I realized ki I need some proper guidance for climbing in general. Because trekking is something that you do with your legs, but your hands and your upper body. Because when I talk and mention this aspect of trekking of mountaineering, that it teaches you a lot about your own body. So I've explored a lot. I figured how my body reacts from the lower body capacity and what I feel and what I sense through like my emotions and my physical capabilities, how it aligns and sinks in. So also wanted to explore on my upper body aspects, and that's why I went to climbing. So it requires a lot of it basically requires your core strength, your lower body strength, and your upper body strength. And there are many institutes that provide these courses, basic mountaineering courses in India. So the institute that I went in, I'll provide you a list of it if you guys want it, of different institutes that pursue this course. So the institute that I went in was in Arunachal Pradesh. It's known as National Institute of Mountaineering and Allied Sports. It's in Dirang. So they had this Asia's largest climbing wall. So if you see the picture, so you are basically taught about equipments. You are basically talked about safety. How do one needs to carry? They teach you various kind of techniques, and this is a course that is run by defense personnel. So this is a course that accommodates a lot of soldiers to teach them warfare training in mountains. So whenever they go, so this is very near to the Indo-Chinese border, the Dirang space, and a lot of soldiers from the Indo-Chinese border comes in to get through the training. So it is the basic course, and for the advanced course, I think there are three different set of these courses: basic mountaineering courses, advanced mountaineering courses, and search and rescue courses. And additionally, there is also one course named as method of instruction courses. So if you feel ki this is something for you and this is something that excites you and gives you meaning in life, so you can also go ahead with method of instruction course. You can then pursue being an instructor for this institute as a career option or a prospect. So people go ahead with this kind of training, and you get to learn a lot about equipment. So this was our instructor, and he was teaching us about the crampons. So basic mountaineering comes with three different elements that they teach us about. It teaches you about trekking. It teaches you about rock climbing. It also teaches you about artificial rock climbing. That is also a part of rock climbing. And in the end, it teaches you about snow climbing or snowcraft, they call it. So I'll show you all of these pictures because it is very exciting stuff. And if you are a trekker, if you want to be a mountaineer, they'll give you a certification where you can call yourself a mountaineer. So you'll be a certified mountaineer for sure. And it is not just about the certification. I felt even if it wasn't a certification course, by the end of the course, you'll easily feel very confident in calling yourself a mountaineer because the stuff, the skills, the training that these guys endure you beyond your limits. They literally push you with every possible thing. But at the same time, they also are very mindful about you accepting what are your limitation and what are your inefficiencies. You need to understand your body basically. So before going to this course, I met an accident like quite a while ago. I met an accident, and when I had that accident, I wasn't able to sense anything on these two fingers. So basically, I only have these three fingers in my hand. And climbing is all about grips and everything, and you need to have good sets of hand if you are basing your whole body and your life on those particular holes. And if at any point or instance you lose that grip, obviously you will either sustain injury or it will affect very adversely for you. So you need to be very mindful of your body. So these people evaluated everything about a person because they were soldiers. They ensured our safety, and they taught us it is you don't need to give up on yourself if you don't have two fingers. It is also possible if you train your these three fingers to or they'll basically curate a own set of course for you. They'll teach you how to be dependent on your strengths in your body. If you feel your legs are strong, if you feel your right hand is strong, you can maybe work on that climbing style that will be specially for you. There is no standard thing in terms of training. This is a standard set and it is for everyone. They'll cater you to like towards the way that you have been living and that towards the way that you follow your body, towards the way that you feel your body with. So yeah, so a lot of equipment training, a lot of trekking, extreme trekking. We needed to load our weights. Like our backpack used to weigh about 20-30 kgs, and we were supposed to carry that and trek that with almost like 7 to 8 hours in a day. And at times there was also this running competition where we were supposed to carry almost 20 kgs on our back and run for I guess 8 to 10 kilometers in the mountains, up hills. And I don't know what to say about it, but it was very hard. It was very intense, and we somehow were able to get ourselves through that. We made a lot of friends. So because a lot of friends from the army comes in, so this was my Navy friend, and the I don't know. I guess it's the best or the worst part about making friendships in the PMC course is that because you meet soldiers, because you bond with them, and they have a lot of I guess compliances to follow. They don't use cell phone. They aren't able to connect with you after their training. So you just need to be there with them for a month. It's a month long course. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. So you need to be there with them for a month, and then you just need to say goodbye to each other, and you'll know for sure that you won't meet each other. So a lot of exchanges happen of emotions, of things, of memorabilia. And we used to study together. They also used to be technical training, and yes, this is about it. And wait, also showing some pictures about our training.
Ashish,
Yes.
so when you travel solo, then for sure you have to carry everything for yourself, including the
Yeah.
tent that you need to pitch at some point for
Yeah.
a stay at night. So how do you
Yeah.
carry that?
So I have a rucksack basically. So I have a very big rucksack. So there are different sets of rucksack. So if you are going through a company, people usually go by 50 or 60 liters of rucksack. But when you're traveling solo, and it depends on the trek also. If it's a 3 or a 4 day trek, so you just carry a 60 to 65 liter of rucksack, and in that you can fit in your luggage. You can fit in your clothing basically. That needs to be very minimalistic, or you need to carry a bigger rucksack. If you feel you can carry that much weight for the coming 3 days throughout the trek, understanding its landscapes, there are multiple apps that you can use just to understand what are the elevation gains of the mountain and its stretches. So just for an example, if I'm planning for a Sandakphu Falud trek, there is this Sandakphu Falud trek that's in Sikkim, I guess. I'm not even sure about this place. So if you go there, no, it's in Jalpaiguri. Okay, it's in West Bengal. So if you go to Sandakphu, and if you think it gets a 5 day long trek, and I'm planning to go there solo, then you need to understand your needs first. What all stuff I will need for 5 days. You also need to assess what all would be the safety requirements in that space. And then additionally, at the same time, when you have quantified on everything, these are all these things that I'm going to need, then you need to assess how much space would that thing need. You also, in the end, see, the planning starts in being minimalistic and being in like with everything that you carry, you need to question yourself at least 10 times. Whether I'll need this for sure, whether I'll need this for sure. And if you realize yes, you'll need that for sure. And if you come up with a set of things, in the end, before packing, you again need to ask yourself, is this something really I needed? Because there will be many things that you'll realize you won't ever use in the mountains. If you go to the trek and if you come back, there'll be many things that you haven't even touched upon. So generally for me, when I go to trek, I carry 2 or 3 sets of pants or 2 or 3 sets of t-shirt, nothing else. And even if I do that for a 10 day long trek, I only use 1 set of pant on 2 t-shirts. I always bring back 2-3 t-shirts that I haven't ever used. That these are the dead weight things for me. So obviously I carried for a different reason. I carried if it gets very cold in the night, I need to have layers to be adaptable and stuff. So once you have quantified on the stuff that you'll need, the things that you need to carry, you at the same time need to think about the space that it will take. So once you have thought, "Ki, theek hai, all of this is the stuff," you need to establish whether I'll need a 65 liter backpack or a 80 liter or a 90 liter. So usually I carry a 90 liter everywhere, almost everywhere. I have a 65 liter backpack, but then I rent a 90 liter backpack. And yeah, trekking equipments are costly because, and when you go with a backpack carrying a lot of weight, you also need to trust your basically equipment. You need to trust your bag. You need to trust every stitch that bag has. And if you feel keen, you aren't sure about the quality that the bag promises, you need to carry a lot of additional things. You need to carry a swimming kit with you. If anything happens in the end, you just need to be adaptable to that situation. So usually I carry my tent. Usually, I carry a fishing line that acts as a perimeter when I camp. So basically, whenever a big animal comes, I just take fishing lines. The sole reason for carrying fishing lines is because it is very sharp and it never breaks. So what I do is, if I realize that this is a very secluded space and I don't find myself comfortable spending the night there, but if I never have an option, what I do is I just establish my tent between trees, and then I do a complete perimeter of that fishing line, like 4 or 5 times. So whenever an animal comes, I easily get alarmed. If they start making noises, if they cannot exit or enter any space, basically. So when they start making noises, I know ki this is like someone is coming, some animal is coming. I just do a basic check of what kind of animal it is. If it's a dog or if it's a deer, I am okay with it. But if I realize ki nahi, it's growling and it's a different sort of animal, then I need to adapt to differences. So basically, I carry fire, I carry deodorants only in terms of marking my perimeter and stuff, and also it acts as a safety measure. If you just like lighten up a lighter and do deodorants and smashes, and if you flare fire at animals, they just run away. So you just need to carry very minimal things with multi-purpose uses. You need to think about how you can use things differently. If you're carrying a deodorant, you can also use it as a fuel, basically. If the fuel wood is wet in so when you go to a winter trek, everything is snow. Every piece of wood you'll find will be wet, and you won't be able to get water even, because there are very less water sources, and at times you'll need to take up snow, boil it, and then drink water from it. And in that space, if you don't have fire in itself, then you won't be able to sustain yourself. So you have to use a single element in multiple ways. So in that ways, you could minimize on waste, and at the same time, just went through them. Like, go ahead with your trekking experience. So yeah, that is there. I carry my trekking boots. I carry my trekking slippers. That is also a very important element. It comes into the technical aspects to it, but yeah. So it's 11. I'm very sorry. I wanted to do a 10 or 15-minute question round in the end, but yeah, please go ahead with your questions. So I just had this basic introduction about things. There are different kinds of training. There is also the school where they teach rock climbing and Mount Abu. One can also think about this. It is a very nice experience. I recently went there. I guess in January. Yeah, I went there in January 2 months back. It's a month-long course. So they have these two courses: 10-day for basic rock climbing course and 15 days for advanced rock climbing course. It happens in Mount Abu in Rajasthan. And it doesn't cost. The best thing about it is because it is a government subsidized course, and these people only charge you for your food, nothing else. So for me, for like staying there and doing my training for 25 days, I only spent, I guess, 4,000 rupees. Just incurring my food cost, and the training was free, and the food was free, and the stay no sorry the stay was free, and the training was free, and the equipment's usage and its rentage was free. So it is a very beautiful institute. It works on the mechanism of you serving each other. When you do all of these courses, and then you have that. There's also this coaching 1 month coaching course. If you do that, you'll be an instructor, and you'll have the opportunity to go to that institute, like teach other students. Basically, you won't be paid for sure, because these people charge very less from people, and it is only about the opportunities and giving people the platform to pursue this other course. It is a very beautiful institute. Like, this is the best institute I feel in terms of mountaineering I have stumbled across, and the learning there, the amount of learning that happens, it is just beyond everything. I haven't ever learned anything in such a less period of time. I literally wanted to advertise this institute, and I thought of advertising this wherever, at every platform that I'll find.
Can you name it so that advertisement is
So,
complete?
yeah, so it's not a company, it's a government institute, and it is named as Swami Vivekanand Institute of Mountaineering, SVIM. Yeah, I can
In
also
Mount
guide you.
Abu.
Mount Abu, yeah, it's in Mount Abu. It's a beautiful experience, and a lot of kids come there. A lot of so they also have these adventure courses. You guys can consider it for your kids or children from your institute, and it is such
What's
a
a good
beautiful.
weather to go? Like, what's the best weather to go in?
I feel winters are very nice there. Winters are obviously challenging there because it gets very cold, but at the same time, summers are very intense because it's Rajasthan. And summers, I won't suggest, but winters, because I was there in winters, it gets around 0, 1. But if you have proper clothing, you won't struggle with anything. And you can easily trust these instructors with every possible thing. They'll make sure that nothing happens to you. And these instructors stay with you for your life. They keep on adding to your mountaineering knowledge. They keep on adding or referring to you, like referring you to different spaces. And I don't know, you'll get to learn beautiful things about your own self when you pursue mountaineering as a choice or as a career.
Superb, Ashish.
It's
Could not
good.
even think of
Only
any
lovely,
question.
I will ask.
Yeah. It is so inspiring to keep listening to your words and listening to your experiences and listening to your the realities of life and as a mountaineer. It's very inspiring.
I think there's lots more to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Leela, if you want
This
to
is
go, you go. I have to ask more.
Sorry, Priti.
So,
Just saying that if you want to go, you can go, but I want to ask more.
Yeah, you can ask more.
Okay. Sorry, Sakila. I'll ask this question after that. You ask yours. Ashish, I
I
want
had
to
a
ask
question.
about snow trek. Means, to be honest, I planned but got scared and dropped it. In snow treks, if the temperatures are very low, then how do you cope with that?
So how do we cope with that? Yeah, that is a very nice question.
Can you share a little more beyond like coping? How is an experience of snow trek altogether?
Yeah. So the basic element that comes in with snow trek is you won't feel any discomfort while you're trekking or while you're walking. Whenever you make your body stationary, whenever you stand at a place and when the wind hits, I'm talking about it in a very technical aspect, and I feel it is very important to understand this whenever you plan a snow trek. So whenever your body is stationary and the winds come in, you only that will be the point where you'll feel the cold. Otherwise, if you're constantly doing something, if you see even these companies when they plan snow treks, they constantly try to engage you with something or the other. They try to engage you with cooking. They'll try to engage you with different activities. They'll ask you to play, keep constantly playing different kinds of things or stuff. And in the end, when the night comes in, that is when you just got to layer up, because in the end you're sleeping on the snow that is there. And when you sleep on the snow, if your body isn't warm enough, you'll during the night if your body gets cold and if you don't eat much, you'll easily get I don't know, you'll easily get very nauseous, like nauseatic by the end of it, or you'll struggle with different kind of diseases. So what happens in the mountains is if you're not able to cope up with the cold, you can so I don't know whether I should talk about this, but yeah. So what happens is uh, there are these different symptoms of HAPO and HACO. So it's a very technical term. But if you realize ki you're not comfortable in the mountains, especially for the sole reason of you're not being adaptable to cold. So a lot of people from southern India come to these treks, and I've realized over the time ki a lot of people that ask for descent, they when they say ki I'm not able to do this again because of the cold reason itself. A lot of people are from South India because the weather over here is very comfortable. Like Bangalore in itself, right now I'm staying in Bangalore, and I've realized that Bangalore's weather is so beautiful, and one can talk almost like for a day about it. But at the same time, it makes you really weak. Is also what I've realized. Whenever you go to a different setting, be it very harsh summers or be it very harsh winters, you aren't that much adaptable. You have to push yourself through elements. You have to push yourself. So acclimatization basically is an activity that people usually do. So if you straight out go to a trek expecting it, hai, if my trek starts tomorrow and if it's a winter trek, and if I go there a day before, and if I start like climbing that mountain the next day, in that case your body will react adversely. But the best way to go about it is if you know that there will be summer, there will be snow, and my body's not adapted to that much snow or that harsh winters, you can maybe go 2 or 3 days prior to that space. So when your body gets time to breathe in that space, to drink their water, to eat their food, your body itself, our human body is made to like adapt to different situations. So when you start acclimatizing yourself, and you'll realize just giving an extra day to your body does wonders, does literally wonders. If you just be into that space, if you just give yourself the time, your lungs will automatically get adapted towards the cold. Obviously, it will take some time. And if for another instance, if you go there and if you're not having that liberty or that opportunity to acclimatize, I would just say carry enough layers. That is the sole criteria. Carry a lot of layers, a lot of light layers, so that it acts as a very good insulator, and your body heat gets trapped in. So if you do that, and never subscribe to medicines. People usually give Diamox. People usually give different kinds of stuff. In the mountains, if you are dependent on the medicines, I feel in the longer run, if you want to be a trekker, I don't know, your body need to have different set of experiences and different altitudes. And once you be into that space and you make your body comfortable, even if it was 5-6 years back, and if you were in 18,000 feet or above, you'll realize that your body acts very natural to it on the very next experience, like whatever the gap may be. So yeah. Any other questions? Was I able to answer your question?
I just feel that I'll go for a snow trek and I'll never come back.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen. I can promise that. And basically, you'll go to a snow, like in the very most literal sense. If you go to a snow trek and you'll never come back, I guess that will be the case. But you'll never come back from that space mentally. You'll always remember that
Yeah.
experience. You'll always be very happy about it. You witnessed that, you experienced that. Because snow treks are a very different thing altogether.
So in my life,
Priti
I've
will like
done all.
the place so much that she never wants to come back from the snow trek, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ashish, Ashish, I have a
Mentally
question.
and physically, I don't know. Yeah.
Ashish, when you say the trekker or mountaineer as a career, so
Yeah.
how do you see it as a career? Is it as one of the guides or the some, like
Okay.
joining
So
company or what?
opportunities in terms of career.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are multiple opportunities. So there are so when I talk about these traditional courses, and when I'm mentioning Swami Vivekananda Institute of Mountaineering, so this institute basically provides 3 or 4 sets of courses. So if you do their basic rock climbing course, if you do their advanced rock climbing course, and if you do their coaching course, all of these courses in together in entirety would take 2 months of your time. And when you do these 3 courses, the very next step is you can enroll yourself as an instructor for their own institute. So they'll hire you as their institute. You can work there. You can explore the space. And when you are a guest, like guest instructor over there, in that case they won't pay you. But it's up to you. If you work there for a brief period of time for 5 or 6 batches, then you can also work as a permanent instructor there, and then you'll have a salary and every of that stuff. Similar is the case with basic mountaineering courses, these national courses, basic mountaineering, advanced mountaineering course. If you do these 2 courses and then you go ahead with method of instruction course, then you can be an instructor in these national level organizations, and they pay really well. If salary is the point, then it is the best opportunity that one could have. And alternatively, these national institutes also provide you with courses of search and rescue. So if you do the search and rescue courses, you will be a rescuer, and whenever a natural calamity or these kinds of stuff happen, along with NDRF, you will also be. There are many companies that have these SNR posts. So basically, you can join these companies, and whenever all of these calamities happen, these companies gets deployed, and you'll be able to help people. You'll be able to guide people through all of these emergencies and stuff. And apart from it, there are many internship opportunities in different companies recently. So there is this organization known as BICAT. There is this organization known as India Heights. All of these companies conduct various internship opportunities for people. And additionally, they have like almost, I guess, right now, there are so many trekking companies, and a lot of companies have been struggling with finding good assistant trek leaders. They need like the industry in itself has been towards a very good amount of growth trajectory. They are having a very substantial amount of people coming in as consumers and wanting to have a different set of experiential trekking basically. So recently, yesterday itself, one of my friends texted me that he has been selected as an assistant trek leader in the backyard organization. So these are the basic posts. And apart from it, there are also opportunities for you to pursue photography. Like there are multiple confluences that could also happen. So if you want to practice photography with trekking, there is also this particular opportunity where you will be an adventure photographer. So you will document people's experiences. You will document people. Because obviously, if a documentary needs to be made in the mountains, at the same time, a photographer also needs to be able to trek. A photographer who should also know how to climb if you want to document that thing. So there are multiple confluences that comes in. So and all of these spaces and places, because they are new and because it's a very new industry in India, there are many opportunities that one could have.
So just a small again follow-up question. Is there any basic certification required for enrolling for such courses?
So no certification is required for enrolling yourself in any basic course.
In terms of 10, 12, graduation or something of that sort?
No, nothing. No certificate is asked for you. They just quantify on your leadership skills and nothing else. If they just quantify on your own natural capabilities, and even if you don't have that, they'll make sure that they'll teach you all of these things. So what happens in these courses is there is this way where they appoint daily, they call it something, daily leader. I don't remember the exact term, it's a military term, and they appoint a daily leader for every day, and then you have to lead a batch of almost 40 to 50 people and you'll act as the leader. So they work upon your almost every kind of skill where you'll be able to adapt to situation, where you'll be able to guide people through situations, or just learn how to make things work, how to ask people the right questions, or how to make sure, because you're in adverse situation and mountaineering just drains you. And when everybody's struggling, you just need to bring in the morale of everyone and just push them through. So they'll teach you all of this stuff. So automatically you'll become a leader. Automatically, you won't even realize. But when you're with people, you'll realize what your growth has been. Because earlier I used to struggle with talking to people, but now that I'm here, and especially for the purpose of talking about mountaineering, like I realize this has nothing to do with me. It has only been about the experience that I've had and this opportunity, that like I was able to say yes to this opportunity only because I have been trekking, or only because mountaineering is a practice.
Okay, last question. And how do you, when you say it's an opportunity, so just to give a benchmark kind of, so can you assign a figure or a number? Is it like far better than any typical say MBA? Or I'm just saying because we want people to be or children to be looking at this as an option, serious option.
Okay.
So
So
how
when you're talking about opportunity in terms of financial stability and financial backing, is that what you're mentioning?
yes.
Okay. So see, I'll also give you a ballpark figure. So when you are applying for a post as assistant trek leader in different organization, the packages could range from 3 to 5 lakhs basically. It depends on the organization. So it is the most basic post that you could find in any trekking job, basically, if you want to be a trek leader. And when you climb that hierarchy, when you climb that ladder, so the next post that comes in is, if you have had, let's just say that you're working as an assistant trek leader for about 2 years in a particular trek with a company. So the next step will be they'll hire you as a slope manager, and in that case you won't need to trek much. You'll just be asked to be at a base and just manage stuff over there. Just be in contact with the locals. Just work on the logistics of the things, and all of this comes under the tourism industry per se. So in that post, a lot of my friends have been working with India Hikes as loop managers, and right now they're earning quite good. Like they're earning somewhere around 5 to 7, 5 to 6. So that is the average ballpark figure. And if you want to go beyond that, then there are multiple opportunities as of now. If you have this certification of basic mountaineering course, just one certification of one blog course, you can easily come up with your own company. And right now, people are bored with the idea of general trekking. They want something learning, something creative with trekking. So there are these experiential stuff that has been happening with route mapping, with leadership opportunity activities. So all of these activities are also aligning itself. So there is this company known as Owls. So they have an Instagram page named as Go Out with Owls. So these people are very much into experiential learning stuff. Also, India Hikes at the same time. They also teach you a lot about experiential learning. They teach you a lot about how to practice sustainable trekking, how to practice leave no trail policies, leave no trace policies, and like, a lot of practices they teach you about. Yeah, that is there. So I guess if you want to think about it as a career, if you the most basic package would be 3 lakhs, and the highest could go beyond 10 also. It's up to you how you capitalize on the opportunities.
You do this, you get money, and plus you enjoy trekking. You live in
Exactly.
nature.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
That is the core of it. That is the crux of it.
And one question about Leh Ladakh.
Yeah.
So that area again is like for me, yeah, I'll go and never come back. So that kind of thing. Do we have trekkings there, and do we do like normal human beings go there and come back?
Yeah, for sure. So there are many trails in Ladakh, and the most famous. So it's basically a walkable summit. The most basic summit that happens over there is Tok Kangri. So there's this mountain, and a lot of people go there for the sole purpose of climbing Stoke Kangri. And also there are different mountains, different. So there is this also Chadar Trek that is famous. That is very famous. It's a river, and during the winters it turns into a ice floor. So you can trek on the whole river basically, and it is a very nice experience. It is a very beautiful experience. Recently, because of climate change, they had to change its route because the water wasn't like strong enough. The ice layer wasn't strong enough that could hold a lot of people. And also for the purpose because Chadar Trek got so famous and a lot of people were coming in, so that space experienced a lot of traffic that the ecosystem wasn't aligned with, and that also created a heat bubble into that space, and it affected the ecosystem adversely. But uh, but yeah, Ladakh is beautiful. Ladakh is very convenient, and if you feel ki only for the reason, if you feel ki weather would be a thing that will question everything about your trekking experience or your trekking history. I don't feel it's something that you need to worry about. Rather, I would say just go there in extreme winters. See, I don't know whether it's the right choice or not. But if you experience one of the trek, um okay, if you experience just one of the trek in proper winters, be it Daira Buggal is a very small trek, but it is a very beautiful and a natural experience. Or at the same time, there could be Kedar Kantha trek. Kedar Kantha is quite crowded now, but it is also a good experience. Or there could be many other treks. There are multiple Brahmatal, there is Ali Bedni Bukyal, there is Rupkund trek. So if you go to any one, and also, if it is about taking a leap and if it is about questioning yourself whether you're comfortable or not, I would also not suggest you pushing yourself into a situation. If you feel ki you adapt to things eventually, or you take times to just process things, or just have a way to go about it. What I feel is ki you can also start with something small. Or going into a winter setting in a different season or in a spring season, you can start with a different season. That works out for a lot of people. During that time, it will never go beyond zero. It will just be 2, 3, 5, and that is bearable. Only 2 or 3 layers could give you that confidence to do that trek easily. Yeah, that is something. And Ladakh, the landscape that it offers, it is beyond everything. It is beyond every experience that we have in India, I feel. Uh, Also, additionally, there are places in
What is a good
Arunachal.
month to go in? Which is the
So,
good month to go to Ladakh?
so which is it depends on your choice. For me, it's January. The only reason it's January is because no one comes in January. It is so it is very empty. Like everything is off season there. You will struggle with food
Next,
there during.
next
Yeah.
best, next best.
So next best
January
could
will be
be
too
some.
cold.
So next best could be somewhere around I guess July, August during the monsoon. Just after the monsoon. For us in Western Ghats it's monsoon. But just after the monsoon, all of the roads and everything they clear the snow, and then all of the people start going there for road trips and stuff. So yeah, July, August could be one season that you could plan on.
Hmm. But when it is too much of snow, then also the roads are blocked and things are blocked. Then how do you do things?
So I only go there for mountaineering and nothing else. So that is my
But you
I don't
have
know.
to reach the base camp also, na?
So yeah. No. So for that reason, what happens is ki so there are alternatives everywhere. So like so I don't know. So like there are ways beyond things. So what I do usually, so when I was in Nepal, this was happening. I went there during monsoons, and during monsoons nobody goes there because a lot of people, what they do is because the landslides come in Nepal and its landscapes, and they have no other method of transport rather than roadways. So nobody travels during monsoons. But when I went there, the most rawest thing that used to do is when there were landslides and we have to wait for the way to get clear or cross, and it used to take almost 1 day or two. I just used to get down from my bus. I just used to my climb that landslide wala patch. I used to pass myself through the other end of the road, and then I used to take a different bus, and that was my thing. So I
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah. Ashish, your voice is breaking.
उसका time up हो गया है उसमें. He's extended a lot.
वाईफाई भी बोल रहे हैं खत्म कर.
वाईफाई ने कहा चलो बस हो गया जाओ.
अभी माउंटेन क्लाइंब करने का टाइम आ गया.
हाँ बहुत बातें कर ली तुमने. अरे सच्ची में चला गया. अभी तो बहुत कुछ पूछना था यार.
अरे फोन नंबर ले लो यार, बात कनेक्ट कर लेना यार.
हाँ लीला है कि गई. लीला. हाँ लीला है. लीला.
Hello. Yeah.
Give Ashish Sahu's number. Very important person.
Ashish ran away because Preeti's questions. भैया